I thought it was a damn kid at first. The screaming, the thrashing. Something about it didn't sound like an animal. But when I stepped closer and saw that little striped tail twitching above the muck, I froze. That thing was almost under. Just its head, barely above the surface, shivering like hell. I don't know what hit me. Maybe instinct. Maybe guilt. I didn't even think. I just jumped. The swamp wasn't deep, but the mud? It was like wet concrete. With every step, I sank. I could feel the cold suck at my boots, and when I reached the center, it felt like the ground disappeared altogether. My right foot went under, my balance shifted, and boom, I was face first in rotten water and black sludge. Coughing, choking, I clawed my way forward. My hand finally touched something. Fur. Slick, soaked fur. And claws. Sharp ones. The damn thing hissed and scratched at me like I was trying to kill it. But I grabbed it anyway, wrapped my arms around that shaking, panicked little body and yanked. I thought I was going to lose my foot, but somehow I managed to pull both of us out. I collapsed on the bank, covered in shit, wheezing. The raccoon. 'Cause yeah, that's what it was. Just stared at me. Not scared. Not grateful. Just stared. And I'll never forget those eyes. Not wild, not dumb. Like it knew me. Like it was trying to figure me out. I tore off my flannel and wrapped the little bastard in it. He was cold as ice, trembling so bad I thought he might seize. I muttered to myself the whole way back. Why the hell am I doing this? What's wrong with me? My house isn't far. Just a crooked little place near the trees, 2 rooms and a leaking roof. I dumped the raccoon on a towel in the bathroom and turned on the heater. He didn't move, didn't make a sound, just breathed, slow and steady. I cleaned up, cut my palm pretty deep on something under the mud, had to wrap it tight. Blood mixed with swamp water is a special kind of sting, let me tell you. Then I sat on the floor, watching him. You better not die, I whispered. After all that shit, you better damn live. No answer, of course, but his breathing eased up. Little paws twitched. He was alive. I left him there that night. Didn't cage him, didn't force him. I figured if he ran off, good. If he stayed, fine. I wasn't looking for a pet, but I couldn't sleep. Not just because of the cold swamp stink still stuck in my nose. It was something else. Something about how he looked at me. Like this wasn't over. I should have known. That was just the beginning. The next morning, he was gone. Bathroom towel empty. Heater still humming. But no sign of the little bastard. I checked outside. Nothing. Not in the trash, not under the porch, not even paw prints in the mud. I'll be honest, I felt relief. Some part of me didn't want to deal with whatever the hell that was. Maybe he crawled off and died. Maybe he was never really mine to save. I made coffee, burned toast, tried to get back to normal, whatever that means, but it felt off, like a weight shifted somewhere, and my balance hadn't caught up. That whole day passed, then another. By then I figured that was it. One strange thing in a boring life. Cool story, weird memory. And then, bang. Something hit my screen door hard enough to rattle the frame. I opened it fast. There he was, caked in dry blood and dirt. Fur stuck in clumps. One eye swollen, nearly shut. He just stared up at me. Same look as before. But now there was something else in it. Expectation. Jesus! I muttered, kneeling. What the hell happened to you? He didn't resist when I picked him up. Didn't scratch. Just let out a long, low whimper. I cleaned him up again. Slower this time. Tried not to talk to him, but I ended up mumbling anyway. You got a death wish or something? I fed him boiled chicken. He wolfed it down like he hadn't eaten in days. I left the door open in case he wanted to leave. He didn't. Next morning, he was still there. Next evening, too. And every time I stepped out, he followed. Not close. Just enough to let me know he was there. Watching. Tracking. One morning, while I was stacking firewood, he darted into the trees. I thought he was gone again. But then he came back, dragging something. A sock. A child's sock. Pink with a unicorn stitched on it. Dirty, ripped at the heel. I stared at it, then at him. What the hell am I supposed to do with that? He dropped it at my feet, then sat, waited. I took a walk down the trail near the edge of the woods. Not far, maybe 20 minutes. And there, caught between the roots of a fallen tree, was the other sock. Okay, weird, real weird, but it kept happening. Next day, a broken wristwatch, then a cracked phone screen, pacifier, junk, right? But every time I found the match or clue to where it came from not far off. Almost like he was leading me, or testing me. I didn't know what game he was playing. Hell, maybe he was just a thieving little animal with good timing. But something told me to follow, just in case. Because every damn time he brought something, it felt like I was supposed to see it. Started just after dawn. I was having coffee on the porch, thinking about replacing the busted step, when the raccoon appeared. He stood at the edge of the trees, staring. Then he turned and bolted into the woods. I should have ignored him, should have let him chase squirrels or whatever he did out there. But I didn't. I grabbed my boots and followed. He kept looking back, making sure I was still behind him. Not fast, just steady, focused. After 10 minutes of hiking, we came to this old, half-collapsed shack. Looked like it hadn't been touched in years. Roof caved in on one side, weeds growing through the floorboards. The raccoon stopped at the corner and sat. I scanned the area. Broken glass, rusted tools, an overturned wheelbarrow. Then I heard it, whimpering, low and rough, coming from inside. I stepped in through the side door. Took a second for my eyes to adjust. And there he was, a dog. Big, black, and half-dead. Tangled in rope, ribs showing, barely able to lift his head. No food, no water, just dirt and piss and the stink of neglect. I don't remember deciding. I just moved, untied him, slow and careful. He didn't growl, just wagged his tail once, weak, like he barely remembered how. Carried him out. He was lighter than he should have been. The raccoon didn't move, just watched. Back at my place, I filled a bowl with water, then another with some of that dry food I keep around. The dog ate like he was starving, which he was. I sat on the floor again, same way I had with the raccoon, staring at him, trying to make sense of it. Someone left him there, on purpose. That place was padlocked from the outside. I had to break a board to get in. And the raccoon? How the hell did he know? I told myself it was dumb luck. Coincidence. Maybe the raccoon liked the smell of rot. Maybe he just wanted to play. But the next day it happened again. Same routine. Coffee. Porch. Raccoon. Staring. Then turning. This time it was deeper into the woods. An old hunting trail I hadn't used in years. I followed him. Couldn't help it. We found a kid's bike. Bent wheel, muddy seat. No one around. Then I heard crying. Farther down the trail. I ran. Found a little girl. Maybe 6. Stuck in a gully, ankle twisted bad. Probably crashed, tried to climb out, and failed. Carried her out. Called the sheriff. He said they'd been searching all morning. He asked how I found her. I lied. Said I was hiking. Didn't mention the raccoon. That night, the raccoon curled up outside my door. I didn't sleep. 2 times is not a coincidence. Not like that. Not that exact. Something was happening, and I didn't understand it. But I knew one thing for sure. This little bastard wasn't done with me. It hit me in the middle of the night. One of those memories you don't know you still carry, until it sucker punches you while you're trying to sleep. I was 9, maybe 10. It was spring, muddy as hell. I'd wandered too far from the backyard, chasing frogs or pretending I was in some movie. Then boom, I stepped right into it. A deep patch of swampy sludge behind our old house. Same kind of place where I found the raccoon. I couldn't move. The more I struggled, the deeper I went. My boots vanished first, then my knees. Then the cold crept up my chest. I screamed until my throat cracked. And then he showed up. Some old guy. I never saw him before. Long gray coat, beard like a broom, smelled like pipe smoke and gasoline. Didn't say a word. Just reached out with a walking stick and yanked me out like I weighed nothing. He didn't stick around. Just patted my head, muttered something about watching where you step, and vanished into the trees. I told my parents. They said I imagined it. Swore there was no old man living near us. But I knew what happened. I'd been saved. And now, decades later, I was the one doing the saving. With a damn raccoon as my sidekick. That morning, I followed him again. This time, I wasn't even pretending to hesitate. Boots on, knife in my belt, water bottle packed, just in case. He took me northeast, past the ridge, through thick trees where no trail existed. Then we reached it. The swamp. I froze. It was the same one. The tree with the Y-shaped split, the rotted fence post. It had to be. Older, sure, but still there. And the raccoon? He just walked to the edge and sat. I looked around, half expecting to see that old man again. Nothing. Just birds and the faint buzz of spring insects. I stood there for a long time, and then I saw it. A jacket. Red. Snagged on a root, almost submerged. I pulled it free. Inside the pocket, a wallet. License. The name was familiar. Some guy from the next town over. Been missing 2 weeks. Saw his face on a poster at the gas station. I radioed it in. Sheriff came with backup. They found more. Boot prints, a torn glove, blood on a rock farther down the bank. They think he got hurt hiking and crawled in there by mistake. They wouldn't have found him. Not in time. I didn't tell them about the raccoon. That night, I sat on the porch with a beer in one hand and my flashlight in the other. The raccoon sat 10 feet away, just out of the beam. "You knew," I said. He blinked, looked off into the trees. "Why me?" I asked. "Why the hell pick me?" No answer. But I think I already knew.
If you love stories about wildlife rescue, click the subscribe button below. Here's how the button looks on different devices. Every subscription helps spread these stories and raise awareness. The more people know, the more animals get the help they need. And remember, subscribing is completely free. Click subscribe now and join us in protecting wildlife.
Sometimes you don't get to repay the person who saved you, but maybe you get to pay it forward. It was colder than usual that morning. Spring was supposed to be here, but the frost hadn't gotten the memo. The air had that sharp bite to it, and the pond behind the old quarry still wore a thin crust of ice. The raccoon was waiting by the shed when I stepped outside. He didn't look at me, just turned and headed down the hill. I followed. At this point, I didn't ask questions. We moved quick, through wet grass and half-melted snow, toward the quarry path. The closer we got, the more uneasy I felt. My gut was churning. Then I heard it. Screaming. High-pitched. Panicked. We broke through the brush, and that's when I saw her. A girl, maybe 8 or 9, thrashing in the middle of the frozen pond. The ice had given way, and she was clinging to the edge, barely keeping her head above water. I didn't think. Again. Just ran. The first few feet held me. Then crack. Ice shattered under my boots and I dropped like a stone. The cold was instant. Brutal. Like knives slicing every inch of skin. I clawed forward, breaking ice as I went, reaching for her. She was slipping, her fingers blue. "Hold on," I shouted. "I got you." My hand wrapped around her wrist, and I yanked. She was light, but dead weight from shock and soaked clothes. I pushed her ahead of me, back towards solid ice. Every inch back felt like a mile. My chest burned. My limbs were going numb. Somehow, don't ask me how, we made it to the edge. I shoved her up onto the bank. Then blackness started creeping in around the corners of my eyes. I felt paws, claws. The raccoon was there. Pulling? No, just making noise. Loud. Screeching. Jumping on my chest. I coughed hard. Managed to roll over. The girl was sobbing, shivering. Sirens in the distance. Someone must have heard us. Next thing I knew, I was in the back of an ambulance with a foil blanket over me and a paramedic jamming a thermometer under my tongue. The girl was okay. Mild hypothermia. They said another minute and she might have slipped under for good. I didn't say much, just nodded and answered what I had to. Later that night, back home, I stood by the fire. My skin felt like it had been grated. The pain was deep and slow. The raccoon was outside again. This time he had something in his mouth. A crumpled piece of newspaper. He dropped it at my feet and backed off. I unfolded it. It was damp but readable. Headline: Unknown hero rescues local girl from ice. Underneath was a blurry photo. Looked like it was taken from a phone. A figure dragging someone across the ice. No names. No interviews. Just that. I looked out the window. The raccoon was gone. I wanted to be mad. I really did. Because I almost died. Because he led me into that. Because this wasn't supposed to be my job. But part of me, deep down, knew I'd do it again. And that pissed me off more than anything. He didn't show up the next day. Or the next. First, I thought maybe he was off doing whatever raccoons do when they're not dragging broken kids or lost hikers into my life. But after 3 days, I started checking the woods. Calling out like an idiot. Hey, Stripes. Where the hell are you? Nothing. The porch felt empty. The trail behind my house felt quieter. I kept catching myself glancing toward the trees, waiting for him to appear. A week passed, then 2, and something weird started happening. Everything slowed down. Food didn't taste right. Coffee went cold before I could finish it. I'd stand outside just staring into the brush for no good reason. Turns out you get used to the crazy, to the routine, even if it makes no damn sense. And when it's gone, it leaves a hole. One rainy evening, I took the truck down the back road behind town. No reason, just driving, restless. That's when I saw it. Something small on the shoulder under the headlights. First, I thought it was a cat. I hit the brakes, heart hammering. It was him. He was curled tight, barely breathing. One leg bent wrong, matted with blood and dirt. His side rose and fell in shallow jerks. Shit, I whispered, scooping him up. He didn't fight, didn't move. I wrapped him in my coat and floored it. The vet was a friend of a friend. After-hours call, but she didn't ask questions. Just took him into the back and started working. Broken leg, 2 cracked ribs, dehydration, infection. How long's he been like this? She asked. Too long, I said, sitting on the edge of a plastic chair, soaked to the bone. She gave him meds, cleaned the wounds, set the leg, kept him overnight, said he'd make it, maybe, if he was stubborn. The next morning I brought him home, made a bed out of towels by the heater. For the first time I was the one hovering, checking every breath, replacing bandages, whispering things like, "Don't you dare die on me, you little bastard." He slept for days, woke up once to drink, then out again, and I realized something. I'd missed him more than I thought possible. Not just the weirdness. Him. That ugly, scrappy, impossible creature had become part of my damn life. And I wasn't ready to lose him. When he finally opened his eyes, really opened them, he looked straight at me. Same eyes, same stare, like he'd just been on a long, brutal trip and finally made it home. I smiled. Welcome back, partner. He blinked slow, then drifted off again. This time I stayed up watching him, because I owed him, and I wasn't about to screw up my second chance. He was back on his feet in a week, limping, sure, but moving, and more focused than ever. He didn't play, didn't bring me socks or junk. No games. Just stood at the door one morning and stared like it was time. I knew that look, so I grabbed my boots, packed a first aid kit, and followed. We walked for nearly an hour, past the creek, beyond the ridge, deeper than I'd ever gone with him. The forest thickened, got darker. Something about the air felt off, still and charged. Then I heard shouting, not far off. Male voice, angry, then a woman's, pleading. My pace picked up. The raccoon didn't lead anymore. He just stopped and waited. Through a break in the trees, I saw them. A man, big, mean-looking, towering over a woman by an old trailer. She had a bruise on her cheek and blood on her lip. He was yelling, shaking a bottle, then throwing it against the wall behind her. She flinched but didn't run. Probably knew better. I stepped forward. Loud. Hey! They both turned. The guy locked eyes with me, and I saw it. Pure fury. Mind your damn business, he growled. I don't think so, I said, heart pounding. You need to back off. He didn't. He came at me. Fast. I braced. He slammed into me, fists flying. I took a punch to the jaw, stumbled, hit the dirt. Then I saw the woman grab a rock. She swung it hard, cracked it across his shoulder. He howled and turned on her. That's when I tackled him from behind. We rolled, fought, bit, Claude cursed. Somehow, I got the upper hand long enough to pin him. She called someone, I think the sheriff. By the time help arrived, I was bleeding from my eyebrow and he was out cold. They cuffed him, took statements. The woman, her name was Kelsey, barely looked at me. You didn't have to, she said quietly as they loaded him into the cruiser. Yeah, I muttered, wiping blood from my lip. I did. The raccoon was gone when I got back to the trail. Figures. Back home, I collapsed on the couch, every inch of me sore. I stared at the ceiling, wondering what the hell I was doing. This wasn't about finding toys or lost hikers anymore. This was real, dangerous, and I'd chosen it. Not because of the raccoon, not even because of some debt from the past, because it was the right damn thing to do. And maybe, just maybe, that meant I was becoming someone better than I used to be. He didn't come back. Not that day. Not the next. I checked the woods every morning like clockwork. No rustling in the brush. No eyes staring from the shadows. No soft scratching at the porch. Just silence. I told myself he was healing, resting, off on another mission. But deep down I knew. Something had shifted. The air felt different. But then the signs started. First it was a feather. Black and white. Lying on the porch mat. Clean. Placed. Next day a smooth stone. Perfectly round. Warm to the touch like it had just come from someone's hand. Then a piece of torn paper. Looked like it was from a journal. No name. Just one line in messy handwriting. You already know what to do. The day after that, a photo. Printed. Glossy. Me, standing outside the gas station, helping a woman carry groceries. I didn't even remember the moment. Someone had been watching. I sat with that photo for a long time. Something clicked. It wasn't about the raccoon. It never really was. He was the spark, sure. The shove I needed. But the choices, they were mine. And now there were no more directions. No maps. No strange deliveries. Just me. And that was enough. I started walking different trails. Ones he never led me down. And somehow still found people who needed help. A woman stuck with a flat tire. A lost hiker calling for help. A stray dog half-starved in a ditch. None of it dramatic. None of it life-changing. But real. Every time I acted without thinking. Because now I saw it. The things others ignored. The signs. The moments. The chances. I had become something else. Not a hero. Not special. Just awake. And yeah, I still missed him. Still hoped to see those glowing eyes just beyond the treeline. But one morning, I woke up and felt peace. The first real peace in years. On the porch was one last thing. A stick. Crooked. Old. Carved at the top. Tiny scratches that looked like a paw print. I smiled. Thanks, partner, I whispered. Then I put on my boots, grabbed my pack, and walked out the door. Not to follow, but to lead.